Come on, I want to hear you do this right.
Okay.
Bring
me, Lord.
Now, at the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, they don't do simple. They wouldn't call a spade a spade.
Perfect time.
No. They would call it a one-person operated, manually controlled, foot-powered implement of simple and robust, adequately efficacious in their metallic composition, designated primarily by government exclusively for utilisation on the part of allocated officers deployed in the agricultural, horticultural or construction trades or industries, as the case may be, for purposes of carrying out such excavation tasks or duties that may from time to time be designated by supervisory grades as being necessary, desirable, expedient, apposite or germane with regard to the ongoing furtherance of the task or objective in hand or on the other hand underfoot Secretary General. Please to know that I propose to talk in plain English unlike these idiots like Albert Arnold Gore, who, and by the way, Al baby, I'm still after you. And I am not going to stop until I drag you in front of those international television cameras and expose to the world just how little you know about what you've made 500 million talking about. All I want to do is just to make three very simple points today. First, I want to make a moral point, because this is a moral issue. As the gentleman who kindly introduced us rightly said, the global warming scam, for a scam is what it is a threat to the freedom of the United States of America and therefore to the freedom of the world. And I intend to make sure that that freedom is defended against this poisonous and dangerous attack. But why is it morally wrong to believe credulously in global warming? Because that belief is already killing people by the million. Now you may think that that is rodomontade, that is exaggeration. No, it isn't. The biofuel scam, which came out of the global warming scare, has caused mass starvation and food riots in a dozen major regions of the world. Why? Because so many millions of acres were taken out of growing food for people that needed it and into growing biofuels for clunkers that didn't, that the price of food on the world markets doubled. For us, that is an inconvenience. What happens is a burger that used to cost $1 ends up costing $2. We can manage that. But if you're a poor person in Haiti, even before that dismal earthquake, and you were already living on mud pies made with real mud, and that is what many of them in Haiti actually had to live on, and the price of that mud pie doubles from 3 US cents to 6, and you earn maybe $1 a week if you're lucky, then that price increase makes and has made the difference between living and starving to death. So it is necessary, therefore, that we should get the science right, because if we get the science wrong, as they have on global warming, then we get the policy wrong, as they did with the biofuel scam, and if you get the policy wrong, people end up dead in their millions. That is how high the stakes are in this debate. So the moral point, in a sentence, is this. If you apply the precautionary principle, you must apply it just as much to any proposed precautions as you do to whatever it is you are thinking of taking those precautions against. So that's point one. Next, I want to make an economic point. And the economic point is also a very simple one. It is this. If you want to deal with a problem such as global warming, even if the problem is on the scale that the UN's gobbledygook speaking climate panel says it is, even if the warming effect of CO2, which I think it's exaggerated around 7-fold, is in fact as great as they think it is, then even then, trying to mitigate the problem by not burning fossil fuels, by shutting down the economies of the West and the coal-fired power stations, and by doing what the cap and trade bill proposes, which is to close down 83% of the United States economy. That's 5/6 of the economy over the next 40 years. That figure is actually in the bill. All that you will achieve will have no effect on the climate whatsoever, and here is why. Because if you shut down the entire world economy, all of it, no carbon emissions at all, no automobiles, no trains, no planes, no coal-fired power stations, no oil, no gas, nothing, virtually no electricity. You'd all be rationed to 1 hour of electricity a day if we did this. Hospitals would close, people would die in their millions, in their billions, if you shut down that much of the global economy. And if you shut it down for 1 year, on the UN's own figures, shutting down the entire carbon economy for a whole year, how much global warming would you forestall? Answer, less than 1/20 of a Fahrenheit degree. And so if you take this over 23 years, and you shut down the entire economy for 23 years, and you go back to the Stone Age, but without even the right to light a carbon-emitting fire in your cave, then all you will do after 23 years is forestall 1 Fahrenheit degree of global warming. And so if, since the Americans now represent something like 20% of the world's emissions of carbon dioxide, make that not 23 years, but around 5 times that, it'll be something like 100 years just to forestall 1 Fahrenheit degree of global warming, if the American economy were to shut down for 100 years. So the economic point can be stated also in one sentence. It is that if there is a global warming problem, which as I shall shortly show there isn't, then the most effective and cheap and cost-efficient way to deal with that problem is not to try to mitigate the amount of carbon emissions you make, but instead to adapt to any climate change